Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Okay. Any parts you'd like to get to know better or change your relationship with?
Yes. So what I came up with was something I'm going to call either the pusher or the rusher. So I noticed the other day, I'm taking this online training, and I had a good 30 minutes before it started, and I'm trying to eat my lunch and I'm just inhaling it. And I know that I have plenty of time, yet I'm always in this sort of default mode, unless I'm in certain types of environments where it's obvious that it's time to relax.
Yeah.
But if I'm I was at the office, if I'm there, it's this urgency to any moment that isn't claimed in some, to any moment where I'm not seeing a client or not, having to get on Zoom to do this training or whatever. It's I'm rushing no matter what.
Yeah.
And I would really have liked to enjoy my lunch that day. It was a lovely, plate of food, but here I am just in 3 minutes flat, done with it. And I've got to, what else can I get done before this other thing starts?
All right. Yeah, it sounds like a great part to get to know.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you notice it in your body when it shows up?
I don't notice it yet because I noticed the opposition to it first. It's oh God, that's so annoying. And there's a lot of, anti that part stuff coming up to begin with.
Well, we can check in with that one first.
I'm just going to ask some space. Okay. Not that I wasn't okay, but
Okay.
Free of obstruction. Yeah.
The part that thinks it's annoying gave you some space.
Yeah.
And now see if you can find where that pusher rusher lives or generates its energy from, what it feels like.
It just feels like, I wouldn't say that it's localized to a certain part of my body. It's just sort of a clinch a clinching. And although I just said it's not localized to a certain part of my body, it feels like it comes from my gut, but it's also like in my neck and at the base of my skull.
Okay.
It's like sort of a whole central channel of clinching feelings. Like,
okay.
you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And how are you feeling towards it?
My first response is like, I'm feeling tired towards it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, a lot.
Yeah. Tired of fighting with it, tired of being pushed around by it.
Yeah. Or just, I'm kind of tired of how automatic it is. I appreciate it at certain times. Like, you know, being able to get from completely unshowered to leaving the house with earrings and lipstick on in like 15 minutes flat is a plus. But when I am, doing something that I might like to enjoy or savor and it's still there going, hurry, hurry, hurry up. That's when I'm a little bit exasperated.
Okay. Makes sense.
When I even notice. Most of the time it is kind of my default mode.
Right.
So I don't even like take a moment to question it.
Okay. See if you can get that part to give you space as well. The one that's tired of it, just let it know that you'd like to get to know the pusher.
It's like there's a whole group of them in there that are pleased about this. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's taking up so much bandwidth.
Yeah.
Many other parts get kind of miffed and sore about.
Makes total sense.
Yeah. Okay. For the moment, I think it's just me.
Great. How are you feeling towards it?
Curious, but I want to say perplexed is a better word.
Okay.
But I believe that's in the curious family. So
sounds like it.
I'm going to go with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a little like, it's like curious with an eyebrow up. Like, yeah.
Your microphone occasionally gets really, really quiet. Like, it's kind of minor, but every now and then it'll just get very quiet.
Okay. Let me try turning off earbuds and just turning off the phone.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see if that works better.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds more clear and loud.
Okay.
All right. Where were we? Oh, curious and perplexed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll go with the curious and just see if you can let it know that. Let the part know you have some curiosity. Like to get to know it. Like to understand it.
Okay.
And just ask it what it wants you to know when you're trying to eat lunch and it's pushing you to hurry up.
It's it just has like this belief that if it's not constantly doing that things are going to just kind of fall by the wayside. Things are going to get missed. We're going to run out of time.
Okay. Does that make sense to
you?
Great. Let it know that. And you could ask more about what that would mean? What are these things that you'd be out of time for? And
everything. Like, yeah, I've kind of been in a little bit of like a battle lately with like just kind of refusing to do a bunch of like stimulating to-do-y type things at nighttime after I get home fairly late from work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that causes it to have heightened anxiety, because that is, I just used to kind of keep up with things / everything by just like, burning the proverbial candle at both ends. And this candle is too old to do that anymore.
Okay.
So I guess it's like, well, it's daytime, so you have to do everything. Like we can't stop doing things. If if you're going to cut off, this chunk of time, then we got to squeeze even more. Not that it wasn't squeezing when I was doing it differently either. It was just squeezing around the clock at that time.
Yeah. Okay. And what would be so bad about running out of time or not getting as much done?
It's just overwhelm. Overwhelm will happen. And even though the feeling of it is very akin to overwhelm anyway, it's just, tight and tense and rushy and
yeah.
What would happen if we ran out of time? What would happen if we ran out of time is that then there would never be any moments that weren't squeezed in between something and something else, I guess. It would just spill over. It would just spill over into everything else. Like,
okay.
I don't know how to explain it. It's like the more you can get done at any given moment, the more likely that there will be some moment maybe where you don't have to do that.
Yeah, seems logical.
It does seem logical, except for that it just keeps going even then.
Yeah.
Unless I'm on a nature trail or in a hot tub or something.
Right, in the prescribed relaxed place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which,
maybe you could ask.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say more about, so it has this kind of logical answer. Maybe you could ask more about the emotional answer, what it's afraid of, really to learn more about kind of the fear or the whatever bad thing happens.
It's afraid of like not keeping it together, everything under some semblance of control.
Mm-hmm. Semblance of control.
Yeah. Meaning that it seems to take a lot of effort and energy to just keep up, with the life. So it just is constantly trying to urge me towards keeping up with everything.
Yeah.
Which means like, look, even if you don't at that moment have something pressing to do, look for something to do. Because then maybe it's always like, maybe you can relax later if you do this now.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was picking up on the word semblance and thinking about wondering if it has some concerns about how things appear versus how they are?
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm not a person to put on airs. But externally, like my environment is always very tended to and tidy and whatnot. And internally, things are often like, kind of harried and, rushed and jumbled and discombobulated.
Okay.
So I guess that's what came up when you asked that. It's like around me, there is an appearance of like tidy put togetherness. Mm-hmm. Much of the time, not always, but internally there's like some chaos. And I read in a book once, it was like one of those ADHD books, and she introduced this concept of managing yourself with anxiety. And that's what this feels like. It's just like stay tightly wound so that you don't fuck up. Like basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I know that.
Go.
I think I have very similar parts.
Yeah.
Although I am very curious about the tidiness, because that I don't have much of. And we don't have to go there if it's not something you want to explore. But I'm very curious about, well, really anybody who keeps things tidy. I'm always wondering how they do that and what drives them. And so
what drives me is like, if I want to, again, it's like, if you want to relax, everything's going to need to look nice. So go do these things. Yeah. But often I do things, that have a visual reward before I'll do anything, like get on the computer or like promote a retreat or things that like I kind of quote need to do. Because if I tidy up the living room or the kitchen or do the dishes, blah, 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 it's like visually instantly rewarding. I don't know. It's just, it seems in the moment gratifying in a way that like other things where the reward comes later are not gratifying.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And how long has this part been doing this job?
Oh, pushing me to do stuff all the time?
Yeah, through the clinching.
God. I want to say like, this happened in the session that I just listened to today. But again, it's like since adulthood, like as soon as, you have your own household to take care of and all of that stuff, you have to go and go and go.
Yeah.
I don't remember feeling that way before, quote, adulthood.
Yeah. And was there any event or anything was there a time when in that transition from not feeling that way to go, was there an event or anything that it wants to show you about, here's what happens when it goes wrong? Here's what happens when it doesn't work so hard and you're an adult.
The only things that come up are moments when I have like dropped the ball with scheduling or, like messed up my calendar with clients or, just, there's nothing to do with my external environment really, but like keeping up with getting back to people about things. And like, there are times when I have messed up and I really hate the feeling that I get when that happens.
Yeah, that feeling
it is in fact kind of overblown sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like I'm trying to buy my way out of feeling bad for it. I'm like, well, then it's free this time, or, like it's, I'm kind of like writhing in awkwardness about it when I do mess up.
Okay. So this part's really concerned or really interested in keeping that from happening and the feelings that come along with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not okay to mess up, like to not be there for something that you're supposed to be there for, or yeah. It's like really not cool.
Yeah. And it causes you to writhe in awkwardness.
Yeah. Why that means that I have to inhale my lunch, I'm not quite sure. I think just because those next few moments I can check and make sure that there's nothing I'm, like there's some time to make sure that you're not messing up real quick.
Yeah. So this all makes sense to you that, I mean,
yeah, it does.
That this part, at least that this part sees it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's its intention.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You can let it know that. You can thank it for its intention. You might ask how it likes its job.
Before you even asked that, it was telling me something like, at least it's not as bad as it used to be, because I used to have there used to be way more like moving parts and things, just a lot going on. It was a different era of my like professional career, and there was, it was. So it was kind of already telling me like, well, it's not as bad as it used to be. And for me or for it, like it doesn't have to hustle quite as much. Maybe that's why I'm allowed now to not do all these things at nighttime.
Okay. Yeah. So it's saying it has already backed off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is true, because it used to be never. And I just went to sleep when I was exhausted, not like for any other reasonable purpose other than just like, oh, I can't anymore. So that is it. Yeah, it's a big improvement.
And how does it like its job? How does it like getting your attention in the way that it does?
This is a little unexpected, because when you said that, it kind of like seemed to give like a sort of a twinkly-eyed snicker, like it almost does like too.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's like, I kind of do like it. Let me see if there's something behind that. It seems to say that it's fine now, that there's so much less.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems it just seems to have a belief like, if I don't do this to you, you're going to drop the ball, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I guess to its credit, I haven't dropped the ball in a long time. So that's good, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it have any other, you could ask it about like what would be ideal for it in the way that it does communicate with you, get your attention. Does it have some other way that it could work with you? I'm again thinking about just when you're having lunch and you have time to have it. Is there some other way this part would prefer to get your attention?
I get a lot of nudges from these sort of anxious managery type parts that I need to have a better system for managing my time and tasks. And then, maybe it could let me have lunch if I wasn't trying to keep everything in my head.
Got it. Yeah. So if you had a trustworthy system where the things you were being reminded about at the right times and you could trust.
Yeah. But the sad thing is that I have, gotten all excited about all kinds of ideas of those natures, and none of them ever stick.
I understand. I mean, that's one of my biggest. I spend so much time setting up systems and abandoning systems, and
like I have a bullet journal in my purse that the only thing I've done is numbered the pages. Oh, I think I made an index or something. I don't know, or started one, but it's still in there. It's been in there for months, and I haven't written a fucking thing in there.
Maybe I just think that maybe that's the way it goes, and some people have to try all the things before they find the one that works, and maybe the one that works itself changes a year later.
Yeah. Well, if I had used it for, successfully for 3 months and then put it down, it would be less comical to me than the fact that I never used it. Like I was like, I've got it. I like went around looking for the right one to fit in my purse, gotta find the right one. This is it. All right. My life is changing. Oh, and I never.
I totally get it. And again, maybe that one didn't call to you, and
I guess not.
Good, you saved 3 months of investment in it. Anyway, this part. So that's something that you could negotiate more with it. You could maybe it knows what that perfect system, or has some input on what that system would look like.
Yeah,
that could be a conversation that you have with it.
I hope somebody in there knows, because I am befuddled completely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm constantly telling Alexa or my phone to remind me, blah, blah, blah. Remind me about this later. Remind me about that later. But that's not like really a system, quote unquote. It's just, having a computer. I don't know. It's like it's not a well-oiled
It's the basis
machine.
of my system.
I
tell it to remind me of every single thought that could possibly be useful, and then at the end of the day, I process that inbox of thoughts.
And then, do people ever come over and then? I don't know if you're using like an out loud reminder like Alexa, but like people come over and then all of a sudden it's like, you need to take magnesium. You need to do this. You need to do that.
No, they're not. They're not. No, I have different alerts that I'll use for different. Yeah, most of my alerts are very, like the audible ones are very not embarrassing.
Minimal. Yeah. Well, none of them are embarrassing. It's just like so many of them sometimes that I'm like, oh, geez, it's going to be a few minutes before this is over.
Anyway, so getting back to parts, that's you could check in with the part about if it has, if it even wants to be a part of that conversation, if it has ideas to share around that. And then the other thing I would suggest or offer is, to look for, again, more of the exile energy that might be behind it. And what I've detected is, the part that says, it's not okay to mess up. It's not okay to not show up. And that would be agonizing. And you could try to find whatever part is saying that and work with it.
Yeah. A anti-disappointing people part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
What does this pusher part say about all that?
I mean, I don't know if it's talking now or if I'm like analyzing myself. I'm quite certain there are some, like kid type parts in there that are afraid of disappointing people.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like the main drive behind this thing, or if it's just kind of a function of having this type of operating system and trying to live in the modern world and all of that.
Yeah.
Because there
both.
are some things where I just kind of, I kind of hit a wall with that. It's like, this is just kind of a side effect of having a brain that bops around all over the place. And there just has to be a manager in there that's keeping that straight. And of course, there are also like hurt feeling parts about being that type of person or whatnot.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it could be, it could be mostly, maybe it's mostly just a fact of modern life, and maybe it's 20%, those other parts, those exiles.
Yeah.
So that's why I would check in with the protector and just yourself, your system.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Ask it, if you were able to help those parts and heal them, does this protector feel like that would help it relax?
I think actually, and I'm sure that doing that would be beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever those parts are, feel kind of, sometimes this has happened before when we've talked. It's like there's something that's remotely related to what we're talking about, but it's kind of too far off for me to get to. I don't think it would. Obviously, I don't think it would be a bad thing to check in and eventually find those you disappointed your mom and stuff parts. But I think this part would be most served. Ooh, it's like there's a part of me that's like, do not make a commitment. But by me actually scheduling some time for it, so that it can be like, okay, here's all the shit that you have to remember. Let's write it down right now, and all that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If that does feel right, I just want to offer that right in this very moment, you have currently scheduled time to work with parts. So it's fine with me if you use this calendar time right now to do that.
Okay. Meaning while we're still on this call, or just go
on the call, off the call, either way. Okay. I'm just saying, if you got your calendar blocked off and you want to meet with this part about this thing. So feel free to use our meeting as, that thing in the calendar that you got to do.
Okay.
And it is meeting with this part ultimately.
True. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do that, and I guess get off the phone for it.
Okay. Up to you.
Okay. All right. Fine. Okay, that seems fair.
I'd love to hear how it goes.
Okay. Thank you.
And you know what? I'll do the same. I'm going to go be with my parts.
Okay.
And we're going to also be super productive in our parts work.
Okay.
Maybe you and I can send each other a message afterwards and see how it went.
That would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Talk soon. Bye. Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.